Good morning, friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are planting a entrance bed here at going into the garden center. Traditionally, this has always been annuals, but this year we're going in a different direction. We are going to fill this baby full of gorgeous shrubs, perennials, and then just a few accent annuals just to kind of fill in the gaps while we are waiting for the shrubs and the perennials to fill in. I've already laid out the bed. I did this yesterday afternoon because I wanted to kind of sit on it and make sure that I got it how I wanted it. That way this morning, bright and early, the sun's not even officially, well, I mean, it's officially up. It's not showing. It's a cloudy day. So I'm moving with purpose before the sun comes out because it is June in North Carolina after all, and once the sun comes up, it is going to be hot and humid. So yesterday I did lay this out. This is going to be a traditionally, technically will be a part sun to shade garden because let's just kind of get a whole big picture of where we are here. So those of you maybe that are new or kind of like out of place where we are, the privacy berm is right here to my left, and so this is the nursery side, of course, of the berm that we encourage folks to like go and explore and look at. And then as we come down, this is the bed that we're working in. It is just to the left of the driveway that you would enter into the garden center. And so that's where we're working. Its sister bed, shall we say, is just on the other side and is to the right. So when we developed these two beds, we always put annuals in here. We'll go check out those annuals in a little bit. But Jerry and I, when we planted the one on the right with the annuals this year, we just didn't have time that day to plant the one on the left. And so it has sat empty for a couple of weeks. And we were talking about it yesterday morning, and we were like, man, we got to do something with this bed because the signature experience is rapidly approaching. And I want to have, of course, beautiful color in here. So we said, you know what? This garden is turning more and more into a shade garden because of our big, beautiful deciduous trees that are here. And so it's getting more shade than its companion bed. So we really can't plant it the same because the petunias and the grass, the salvia would kind of struggle a little bit. So I said, let's just have fun and let's do it with shrubs, perennials. That way we're not having to replant it every year and it can make a huge impact. And I said, can I shop the nursery? And Jerry's like, well, of course. So I want you to know that all of these plants, literally every single one of them, I went over to the pines and shopped the pines. So a lot of these plants have been here for over a year for sale and nobody has bought them. So as I say, it is a free game for Jenny. She can go over there and shop to her little heart's content. Because every once in a while, I'll get these little snide comments that, oh, only the best plants are safe for Jenny. No, if you watch our videos, you know that is not true, that I happily and frequently plant the plants that the customers have picked over and not chosen. So that is the case here. So if you're looking for a great sun, like part sun to shade garden, we have lots of options for you. So let's go through it. We're going to go through it, talk about each of the plants, and then I'll plant it and show you the end. Because basically the main point of this video is to show you the plants that are going to go in here, talk about the design, why I put them where I put them, and my reasoning behind that, okay? So to give you all of the details, because I think the details are very important. This bed is basically by 1 o'clock, it was in complete shade. So it will get morning sun. Everything in here will get at least 4 to 5 hours of morning sun. Over here is where the shade first starts. So the shade will start here because of the dogwood, and it will make its way this direction, because this down here is going to be the most exposed. Yesterday when I laid them out, I had it all laid out. I went to lunch, I came back, it was 1 o'clock, complete shade. So the grass here was in the shade, as was all of the plants. We do have drip irrigation in here, so they will be on irrigation, which is helpful when it's underneath all of these massive trees. We have in the past heavily amended this soil with compost. You'll see as I am digging that I won't have a ton of red clay, I'll have some, but we have really built up this bed with great organic matter, so I'm not going to add that today. I will use my biotone on everything, and then my annuals, I will use the Proven Winners continuous release fertilizer. So let's start on the corner and work our way to the left. So we have got right here on this corner a mass planting of Wee Bit Giddy Hydrangea. Wee Bit Giddy is a very fun, cute little hydrangea that has unbelievably gorgeous blooms on it. Like, look at this. Look at these massive, massive petals on this hydrangea. Absolutely stunning. Now, are these, plants right here the perfect specimens? No, they're not. Y'all, I don't care. The plant is an absolutely gorgeous hydrangea with beautiful flowers. It is pH dependent. Proven Winners says it does best as a pink. I'm just going to let it do what it does, right? So obviously here in the nursery cans, it has turned that really, really bold, hot pink. And so it'll be what it is, right? So over time, they may change because we typically have acidic soil. But Wee Bit Giddy is really fun because it's hardy in zones 5 to 9. It is going to be that reblooming Macrophylla hydrangea. It will be 2 feet tall and 2.5 feet wide. So hence its name, Wee Bit Giddy. And I wanted to plant these that basically they're going to grow into each other. So they're going to be this mass planting that in 3 years will look like one huge hydrangea. So they're going to be in that, that part sun garden. If you are in a cooler climate, if you're in that zone 5, they absolutely can handle more sun. If they're in a zone 9, they're going to need a little bit more shade. So we've got a mass planting of Wee Bit Giddy. Then throughout on the front, for that little pop of color to add in some interest and a different color here, I have one of my all-time favorites. This is the Endless Illumination Broalia. So Broalia is an annual. They're really cute because they have these nice big star-shaped flowers. Depending on how you want to look at it, it's either blue or purple. And so it is an annual, nice mounded habit. And because, I need this nice and pretty like instantly, I'm putting a bunch in here. So it'll be only in a couple of weeks where this will look like one huge mass plant. So I have the Endless Illumination Broalia throughout in little groups all the way down on the front side of the flower bed. So there we go. And also we're going to be working from shortest up to the tallest down towards the fence. Because I was telling Jerry, so as far as the design wise goes, I need this bed to really be in its premium, like in spring, summer, fall, right? Because that's when the nursery's open. That's when you're going to get the most people seeing it. However, I also want in the wintertime to have some structure there, right? Because we do open in February. And so even in February, I don't want this bed to be completely naked, right? I need some structure in here. So I wanted to add in some evergreen options as well to give us year-round interest. But the main viewing time would be in that prime growing season, right? So what I did is I've got 2 different groups of the Everillo Carex grass. This is an evergreen, quote, grass. It is a beautiful chartreuse. If you're familiar with how I garden, I've used this quite frequently. It does great in containers, in the landscape. It is beautiful, nice mounded habit to it. The Everillo, it comes from several different people. This is, it'll also come from Southern Living. So 12 to 18 inches tall and wide, and it is hardy in zones 5 to 9. You don't have to prune it. You can just leave it alone. And the more water you give it, the faster it grows, right? So we've got a group here, and then we have a group down on the other end that we'll see in a minute. Evergreen interest. So let's just kind of back up just for a minute so you can kind of see the whole picture here. We have the green electrical box, right? So if there's ever an issue, the power company has to be able to get in here and work on that power box. It's like the transformer, right? So if there's an issue, I've got to be able to let them get in here. And I don't want to put shrubs in front of this, because if they have to dig up, it is easier to dig up and or replace perennials than it is big evergreen shrubs. So that's why I'm going with perennials here, is because in that rare event that they have to come in here, dig something up, replace something, they're trampling through the flower bed, I can replace perennials faster, quicker, easier than I can do a mature shrub. So I want to hide the box because, I mean, it's not the prettiest thing, right? It kind of blends in because it's dark green. So we did a mass planting of the Aurelia Sun King. Gorgeous. We'll get like 3 feet tall, 3 feet wide, and I've got 6 of them in here because I want huge mass display right there that will, you know, basically hide that box. And then we came through and did a smattering, a smidge, whatever you want to call it, a compilation of the Feather Falls Carex. So similar in that habit of the Everillo, but a different color. Love this one. Again, it's a great plant. So we've got 5 of those, and then the Dark Side of the Moon Astilbe. So the Astilbe is rated as sun to part sun. Here in the South, I find if it gets in full hot afternoon sun, then it does tend to fry. This morning sun should be just perfect, but it brings in some color variation. Of course, it blooms like your Astilbes do, but it's not just going to be a big pocket of dark because you've got the other plants that are highlighting it. So the reason I did that here, right, and then on each side to add the evergreen, we did the Shishi Gashira Camellia. This is a Sasanqua. It is wildly popular, should be pretty readily, easily to find at your local garden center. She is going to be wider than she is tall. Does nice, beautiful pink flowers in the fall. So I have got one here, and then on the other side of my perennials, I have another one right there. So that brings some balance right here, and we can easily kind of transition to over here. So you can see we've got the Broalia again on the front. We've got more of the Everillos, 2 and 2 here, that Shishi Gashira, and then we're transitioning into seeing things that are going to be a little bit taller. In the back, I did the Chindo Viburnums. So we have 3 of them here, and I did the Chindos because the sister bed next door also has Chindos, and they are big and they are beautiful and they are thriving. So this will, even though the beds are going to be planted completely different from each other, you have that Chindo in there, and that ties in the bed. So it ties them in and gives that consistency that we need, so it doesn't look like they're just completely like opposite ends of the spectrum flower beds, right? So repeating that over here, plus it'll give us some nice, really beautiful dark evergreen back foliage in the back. And so that's why we did that. They can get like, you know, a good size on them. And so my alarm's going off. And so we put them up here forward a little bit because, as you can see, we have to kind of battle here on the back because we have there's honeysuckle in here. There can be some grapevine. So there's briars, all sorts of different kinds of things in here that we've got to keep from creeping in to the flower bed. And so with the Chindos getting that nice big size, they'll still come over out to here, but we're able to get back here and keep the woods from reclaiming the flower bed. So that's what we're doing on those. And then the next star of the show is the Let's Dance Rhythmic Blue Hydrangea. Got 2 of those. And so this is how I shopped. This is how I determined what plants I was going to be using the hydrangeas over here, is because I went to the garden center and I was like, okay, I'm not going to take like the primo hydrangeas, because there are primo hydrangeas over there that are stunning, like the Let's Dance Skyview. Gorgeous. But I was like, I'm not going to do that because then I still kind of feel guilty for taking like the primo plants. And so there was the Giddy, and then there was 2 of the Rhythmic Blues. And one, she's in full bloom. The other one was in more of a shade, and so she just has a bloom on her right now. She should get more as the season goes on. But the Let's Dance Rhythmic Blue will get to be 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. So again, working from the shortest, and then we're going up in height. This is another beautiful reblooming Macrophylla hydrangea, and you can see on this same plant, we've got we got pink, we got blue, we've got shades of purple. I mean, look at that, absolutely gorgeous. And then the flowers are completely, like the little petals, completely different than the Wee Bit Giddy. Much smaller, but nice, I mean, gorgeous, compact habit on it. Again, not the actual like primo plants. I don't care. I'm planting for longevity here, and they are giving me gorgeous color now. So we've got those in there. And then because I was thinking, all right, so in the meantime, while I'm waiting on my shrubs to really fill in and get nice and big, I'm going to go ahead and put the Pegasus begonia in here. And so I've got 4 groups of 3. I'm putting 3 plants together to really bulk it up as fast as I possibly can. But Pegasus begonia is like that Rex begonia. It is an annual. It will not come back for me. Beautiful foliage on it. And it will get some height to it, that 18 to 24 inches tall, and really nice and fill in the gaps here. So while we're waiting on those shrubs to fill in, let's pop some annuals in there to give us some interest. And then coming on down, we're repeated with the, we have 3 of the feather falls here, more of the broalia. And then again, I had a hole and I was like, okay, I want some evergreen right here. What can I do? So I went with this beautiful evergreen shrub from First Editions. I have used this before in my shade gardens. This is Pink Frost, and this is an Alyssium, an anise tree, right? Gorgeous variegated foliage. Love this. It is hardy zones like 7 to I think like 9. It is deer resistant. It is evergreen, and at maturity it could be 6 to 10 feet tall and wide. But that beautiful, I mean, gorgeous foliage. So imagine this with your dark green chindos, and then we have the blue cedar here, and she's a little bit on the struggle bus. She's a little lopsided, but you know, whatever, it's fine. And so putting that Pink Frost right there, really gonna bring in nice pop. Biggest shrub that I have right there is lovely. And then last but not least, there's a ton of plants in here, y'all. These are, again, shopping the stragglers of the garden, as Cece said. In the pines, I've got a clematis. Now, it's the same clematis, but there's 2 of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and plant them together. This is the Jackmanii clematis, and beautiful, deep, deep, rich purple flowers. It did bloom this season, and so this is a type 3 clematis, meaning that it blooms on new growth, which I love that. So because at the end of the winter, before we go into spring, so for me that'll be like February, I can cut it back to like 6 inches, right? So it blooms exclusively on that new growth. In fact, today I might go ahead and prune it a good bit to get just some rejuvenation on the plant. But the Jackmanii is just gorgeous, hardy in zones, let's see if it tells me, it'll get 8 to 10 feet tall, so it can climb this fence that we have right here, and it does not tell me, well, it just says zone 4. So zone 4 and warmer. So there you go. So we're gonna have 2 of those, get a mass planting. Yes, my post fell down. I need to redo that because we have a center post right here that goes in. So we'll get that in there as well. So I have got a lot of plants to put in the ground. So of course I'm going to be working smarter, not harder. And I have got my supplies over here in Johnny. We're going to be using the power planter, of course, with the 9-inch, because even though some of these are annuals, I can make nice, you know, big holes and plant them all at one time. So we've got that. I've got my biotone. I have got my slow release fertilizer. I've got my pop-up tub. And then I have the landscape staples for the irrigation, because there is irrigation in here. So before I start planting, I'm actually going to lift up the irrigation so I can see it, for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to drill through it. It's easy to replace, but I don't want to have to drill through it. 2, once everything's planted, I'm going to lay the irrigation so that it will, all of the shrubs and all the plants will have irrigation on them, because right now there's no telling where that irrigation is laying. It's just that great drip tube that has emitters built in every 12 inches or so. And so I'm going to rework the irrigation, just relay it down so everybody is going to be on irrigation. So yeah, got a lot of work to do. We're going to get after it. My friends, we are done for today. The project is complete. I was blessed to have Cece and Brittany come help me. I mean, man, many hands make light work. And so huge thank you to Brittany and Cece for coming and assisting me, because yeah, got it done in triple amount of time that I would have, or a third of the less time rather than what I normally would have. So it looks fantastic. It's done, but it's not 100% complete. I'll explain. All of the plants are in. They are ready to be happy and grow and bloom and thrive in their new home. You can see that the giddies are already starting to be in the shade. It is about, let me see. Yeah, it is 10:30 in the morning. So you can see that they would have been in the sun, and then that shade is going to work its way. So about 1 o'clock, even the tippy end here will be in the shade. So everything will do great with that, especially being in this nice rich soil and having all of that great drip irrigation in here, because we have got good irrigation running through here. So that is the part of where it's not 100% complete in the fact that we need to come back through and just do a nice little top dressing of mulch to hide the drip lines. The soil itself is nice and rich with all that great compost that we have added over the years. I mean, we have really built this bed up. So I rarely got into any kind of red clay other than just the clematis down here on the end. But everybody else was nice, thick, rich, organic soil. So they're going to absolutely love being in their new home. The chindos were a little bit, some of the chindos and then some of the everillos would be what I would consider root bound. And so we got the hoary and just really go in there and break up those roots. But if they're not visibly like going crazy and wrapping around themselves in the pot, I don't break up the roots, right? You're doing more damage than you are good. Just throw them in the ground. You've got that biotone in there, great compost, nice rich organic soil. I'm telling you, if you have healthy, happy soil, which is a process, especially if you have clay soil like we do, It is an ongoing process of amending that soil. It is not the sexy part of gardening, but it is hugely important to add that organic matter to your native soil, especially if it's less than desirable. So if it's compact clay, or maybe you have tons of sand, like you're very, very sandy, organic matter is the way to go. So everybody is in rhythmic blue. The one, of course, has tons of flowers on it. This one she has one really pretty flower that's coming out, but then she has got some buds. So she's got a bud there, and then she's got a bud right here. So we'll have some beautiful flowers popping out on her. And then love the pink frost Elysium. It's just going to be really, really pretty between the Carex, the Feather Falls, that Chindo Viburnum with that nice dark in the back, and then the blue cedar will be really nice. The clematis, we went ahead and cut them. They're a type 3, they bloom on new growth. It was just easier, less stress on the plant to go ahead and trim them, prune them back. Left about 12 to 18 inches on it. And then when we were talking, and Cece said something about the other side of the fence, and I was like, oh, let's do that. So instead of putting them together this way, we put one on each side of the fence. So that way we'll get that other post up, and then they can just climb up and be happy. Not that I'm expecting them or anticipate or desire, I mean, it would be nice if they bloomed. Again, this year they've already bloomed once. I just want them to have the strongest, healthiest root system so that next year they are just amazing and fantastic and take off. But the entire bed, I mean, yeah, it's going to be beautiful. Just to show you, I'm going to show you really quick. So those are the, the chindos right now, right? But come over here. I just want to show you what they're going to look like in a couple of years. Because remember, first year, they sleep, keep them alive. Second year, they creep. Then years 3 and beyond, they leap. So these are the chindos right here that have been, I think this is going into year 4. So that is every bit of 5 feet wide. Remember, I pruned them. We've got tons of beautiful that bright new growth up there at the top. So yeah, so this is what I anticipate those 3 looking like on the other side. So yeah, super excited. Glad to have this done, and then we will get it mulched. Jackson has a buddy coming over this week. I've got a long list of to-dos for them in preparation for the signature experience. So I'm just going to add that to the list, let them mulch that. The irrigation will come on. Well, right now we're in a rain period, and so it's raining like every day. But if it's not raining, then the irrigation comes on every day. So this will get watered the first couple of weeks. That's when you're going to really watch it, especially those shrubs. And then if we go into that extended period, of which we will, July, August, even September, where it's really, really hot and dry, just keep an eye on them, and they will let you know if they're dry and supplement them, because the first year, honestly, keep them alive. That's all we're trying to do. So if you have found this fun, informative, inspirational, we would love it if you would like and subscribe to Gardening with Creekside. That way you don't miss those 5 videos that we do each and every week. Y'all have an amazing day. We will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.